VoyMonk video voice vlog. And this is for Monday. Last Friday I was actually kind of like, that was not one of my best video voice vlogs. And, part of me always kind of has it in the back burner sometimes because I do listen to what I do before I publish it. But the thing is that even though I'm not in search for perfection, there are definitely things that I do that I go, maybe I had to just redo that one or something like that. And Friday's video voice vlog was an example of that. But because I have ADHD and I don't do any scripts with these things, so when I hit the record button, sometimes I can go off on a tangent, and sometimes I can strafe and just forget my place and thoughts. But there you go. That's it. And I was like, well, if I erased it, is that me not being my authentic self? And to me, the answer to that question is yes. It's not being authentic if I'm trying to hide the fact that, even when I'm doing these things, sometimes I don't always know what the hell I'm talking about. In fact, most times I probably don't know what I'm talking about in terms of if it kind of veers off from just making a solid point, or something about experience when I'm kind of going into my ideas or opinions and things like that, which this is why I don't really put a lot of stock into opinions at random anyways, right? I mean, it matters where they come from. And I can understand how that might come off as a little bit, snobbish or whatever. But it's not meant to be. It's meant for me to kind of go, you know what? We can all be wrong. Anybody and everybody could be wrong. That said, that doesn't necessarily mean just because someone could be wrong, that every opinion, that every thought is of the same measure of value, because I don't think that it is. Some people are jerks, but if they have a particular expertise or an opinion that whether I share or I don't, if they can argue the point silently, I'm sure. No, I can't say the word. I'm trying not to use big words when I really shouldn't. But if they can make a point, a good argument, then a lot of times I'll listen. And if it's coming from a perspective, even if it's one I don't particularly appreciate, I try to at least use my perspective to evaluate it and, of course, weigh it accordingly. Not singularly, because, just because someone says something because they're from Harvard doesn't necessarily mean they know what the hell they're talking about. But seeing as that this person has applied themselves to an academic discipline and has been demonstrated to be better at it than most people, it certainly stands to reason and acknowledgement. However, that doesn't mean that Harvard can't have boneheads from time to time, and it doesn't mean that just because you know something that you're gonna act accordingly or do what you're supposed to do or what people expect of you. Just because someone's from Harvard doesn't mean they're necessarily the only one. And just because, they're persons from Harvard doesn't mean that, just like anyone else, they can't be wrong. So rolling it back to what I said in terms of last Friday, like I said, my opinion is that of a person who, has quantifiably a hell of a lot of failures in life. And so I take that for what it's worth. But like I said, when I do get into tangents or rants and things like that, and because this isn't scripted, sometimes, I can lose my place in thought and stuff, which is probably a good reason why maybe these are 5 to 10 minutes, even though I'd probably make them longer because I love me some rambling. But that said, I didn't want to delete it because shoot, it's who I am, and for better or worse. So, but going forward, I guess this week I'm gonna probably try to move a bit away from the production side of it, and maybe whatever. But no guarantees. Who knows? I think my 5 minutes is up. So until tomorrow, take care.